Hi everyone, welcome back to the Sports Playground once again. So today we are doing the India versus Sri Lanka first test, first day review, and joining us alongside we have Yatharth from Cric.Coverage. So hello Yatharth, and yeah,
Hello.
today is also a historic day for both India and Sri Lanka, as we know. Today it was Virat Kohli's 100th Test match, and Rahul Dravid gave a special cap. I mean, the 100th Test cap, obviously, to Virat Kohli, which was memorable. And yeah, India won the toss and chose to bat first. But first, we'll talk about that historic moment of Virat Kohli today and his 100th Test, and yeah, and the appreciation from Rahul Dravid, the Indian head coach.
Well, for someone like Kohli, it is all, it was a memorable day. 100 tests is not a joke, for any cricketer in the world. So it's a wonderful achievement for him, the way he was, presented a cap, a special cap at his 100 game. I mean, just sums up. Everyone got a goosebump, so did I. So a special moment for Virat Kohli. And, we all have been cheering him in his up and downs. And, he's going through a phase now, and this 100 test will just motivate him on another level. And the first innings which we saw from him, I hope it's just a clearer or a glimmer of hope which we are all seeing. What lies ahead in this beautiful year. So well done to Virat Kohli, and I wish him all the very best. Matlab, to score tons and tons of runs, and may the 71st run comes very soonly, and then all the tons will pile up very soon.
Yeah, very true. And yeah, historic moment for Virat Kohli, obviously his 100th Test match, and then Sri Lanka's 300th Test match as well today. But yeah, let's talk about the first Test and the first innings of India. So India won the toss and they chose to bat first. In Mohali made pretty good changes, I would say. I mean, India went with three spinners, whereas Sri Lanka went only with one frontline spinner. But yeah, Hanuma Vihari got selected instead of Shubman Gill. Were you surprised, or do you think that he deserved that number three spot for India?
He desperately deserved. Matlab, he was dying, to get a spot in there. He batted at each and every position, to humble the selectors and give him a chance. He opened, he batted at four, five, six, batted the tail, and now finally got an opportunity. So yes, it's a bit unfair with Shubman Gill, but someone like Hanuma Vyadi who have been knocking the door quite consistently. I wish that he was rightly deserved, and what knock did he played. I mean, that selection was superb, and quite a similar role, which we saw. So, Hanma Vihari as well as Shreyas here came in for Chiteshwar Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane. Now, Chiteshwar Pujara is someone who can absorb the pressure. So is Hanma Vihari. He can block, and block. And he's a very beautiful hitter of the ball. On the other hand, you've got someone like Shreyas here who complements you to Ajinkya Rahane, who won't mind taking on the ballers from the very start. He is very aggressive in his approach. So, quite similar kinds of position build. So, yes, both of them were quite super pick. A bit harsh on Shubman Gill, but this is Indian team. Opportunities doesn't come too often. So yeah, really happy for Hanma Vihari.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the first day and the first session. Obviously, I mean, India were 109 for 2 at lunch and they lost Rohit Sharma. I mean, again, once again, it was the pull shot, and I mean, it was a good catch at the deep. I mean, it was not a proper technique catch, but still, Akmal somehow got, I mean, the catch of Rohit Sharma. So thoughts again on Rohit Sharma and the pull shot. I mean, it's always, I mean, a bit of a concern. I mean, if even if Chamira, I mean, in the 2020 series, he was struggling with Chamira, and now again we are seeing his. I mean, the shot delivery. I mean, sometimes it makes him uncomfortable. He plays the pull shot well at times, but sometimes he gets dismissed by that as well.
Look, players like Rohit, Kohli, and Pant, you can't blame them. You can't blame Rohit getting out on pull. You can't blame Kohli getting out on a drive, and you can't blame Rishabh Pant, going out for a lofted shot. These are their stock game. These are their natural game. So they have to go after their game. So better we don't provoke them too often, because these are very very quality players and very pillars in Indian cricket. So yes, Rohit Sharma got away on this occasion, but this is not if it had been a very crunch game, then you could have blamed that that was a fall of wicket. Yes, it was a fall of wicket in this case as well, but here we are just out here. Sri Lanka is not obviously not that stronger side, so you can go out and express yourself. So not quite wrong in what Rohit Sharma had to approach. He got a couple of boundaries playing the same pull shot, 2 overs behind. So, yes, he
True.
got out, but I think that approach should never change.
Hmm. That's I agree with that. And coming back, I mean that 90 partnership, and I was very impressed with both Hanuma Vihari and Virat Kohli. That 90 partnership, 90 of 155. A very patient knock, I would say, from Vihari, and Kohli was looking really good. I mean, until he got dismissed by a
Yeah.
beauty from Lasith Tambul. But both Vihari and Kohli were really good, and very unfortunate about Virat Kohli obviously getting out for
Hmm.
45. But speaking about that partnership, and that I mean it was a slow partnership, but it really helped India actually. I mean rebuild after losing two wickets in lunch on before lunch.
That
Yeah.
was a crunch partnership, to be honest. 90 odd runs was required. If you walk, you win the toss, you have got to steal the opportunity of batting first. It was a beautiful track to bat on, and just what we all expected, Hanuma Vihari and Virat Kohli, especially Virat Kohli, batting in his 100 test, you always get that excited, nerves inside your stomach, buffering around. So it was
True.
important him to calm down. He was looking a bit shaky when he came onto the crease, that delivery which just took his top edge, hopefully it landed in no man's land. But after that it was just Virat Kohli and Hanuma Vihari show. Yes, Virat Kohli, he started off that with that beautiful straight drive, and when
Hmm.
Virat plays that straight drive, it just tells you he's in his mood, and he was literally looking in his the best version which I have seen him so far. But that was a zipper of a delivery by that. I don't pronounce his name quite right, but that was actually a beautiful delivery with deceived Kohli. It actually gripped a lot and spun. It didn't spun sharply, but it was enough to to deceive someone like a Virat Kohli. And Hanuma
Hmm.
Vihari played a very good knock, but again he was being a bit loose. He was looking a bit of tired, and a false shot coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And but that partnership was very hand for the India team.
Hmm. And it's obviously the DC captain that always steps
Yes.
up. I mean, last five innings. I mean, last innings, if I'm not mistaken, he scored 590s. Very unlucky in his 90s.
Oh.
Obviously, he scored 100 against South Africa in that South Africa series, but he's been very, very unlucky with his 90s. But what a
Mm.
knock from Rishabh Pant. I mean, especially with the spinners, he was really, really aggressive with both. Ambul Denia and Dhananjay De Silva. I mean, both spinners. He was really, really attacking, and seeing his strike rate 98 in tests, I mean that's just brilliant. I mean Rishabh Pant always creates. I really don't know how to describe Rishabh Pant, but he was just phenomenal today. So your thoughts? I mean, very unlucky, obviously not getting the century, but I feel like he deserved that 100 today. But your
We
thoughts?
both
Yeah.
are very happy, aren't we? Because he's going to lead the DC side as well, and seeing him in that kind of form obviously exhales all of us. But this was a very different kind of innings from Rishabh Pant. I'm not saying different, just because of his intent which he showed on pitch. First 50 which he got, I mean, it was quite patient, quite staying onto the pitch. It was, he as if he came with a mentality that he's going to stick some time to the pitch. And the first 50 he batted as a proper test match batsman, but the next 50 he knew that
Mm.
yes, he has done his job. He scored a 50. Now he can take on the bowlers. And after the first break he took on Dhananjay De Silva. I no, he didn't took on Dhananjay De Silva. Whom did he pick?
Ambul
What's his
Dania, I
name?
think. Ambul Dania.
Yes, exactly. And the first over which he played, he scored 22 odd runs in a single over. I mean, that's crazy as it gets. And then he just went on. Yes, he got a bit unlucky. He's got out, I believe, 6 to 7 times now in Test cricket that he has got out between 90s or 89s. But
Yeah.
that was a superb knock from a very quality player. And you just can't describe it in word. It was very risky shot. And when Rishabh Pant start to hitting sixes, then the fielder inside the boundary doesn't matter to you. It's just going all the way around. So a fantastic innings by the DC skipper.
Mm. And some tweet also said only Gilchrist, QDK, Pryor, Matt
Yes.
Pryor, MSD, and Andy Flower have more Test 85 plus scores as a wicketkeeper than Rishabh Pant. So that remarks on Rishabh Pant, and I feel like I know his shot selection at times is a bit too critic, but I
Hmm.
feel at 24 years, I mean, he's achieved a lot in Test cricket, and I feel
Exactly.
definitely he might be a permanent member for India in all three formats. I think to the years to come, and yeah, we know that he plays some silly shot selection at times, but I think that's just one in like 5 or 6. At least he's been consistent in Test cricket. Often I think we can even critique then Rohit and Kohli, but we don't because they made a legacy and they've scored the runs. I mean, they've scored. lot of runs, and their averages are phenomenal. So that's why we don't speak much on Kohli and Sharma. I think the same also should go to Pant. I mean, when it comes to his shot selection at times, because he's still 24 and he has a lot to learn. But anyways, but still, I want to ask. I mean, was this strange? I mean, Shiraz Iyer going below Pant, because usually I feel Shiraz Iyer is very suited at number 5, and we don't expect Shiraz Iyer to come at 6. And when Pant was doing phenomenal and at number 5, was this just a loophole for Shiraz Iyer today?
It's not a loophole, but I mean, it was a strategical order because, when it comes to Test cricket, I mean, you can't look beyond the pair of Cheteshwar Pujara and Rishabh Pant batting at the same order. Those two were absolutely, bat from parallel worlds. Cheteshwar Pujara can can block. On the other hand, Rishabh Pant can take on the bowler. So, when you remember that Sydney Test back in Australia,
Yes.
Pujara had battled all the Aussies bowler, and on the other hand, you had got someone like a Rishabh Pant who was just twirling them around. So I believe a more of a similar strategy going around with Hanuma Vihari, to give an and ideal conservative to bat like a Chiteshwar Pujara, so he can hold one and Rishabh Pant to take on the charts. This is what I thought. I don't found it a loophole. And Shreyas Iyer, he's a fantastic player. Yes, he got out after getting a start, but this is more regarding the game situation, so I don't find that any strange book. I mean, it's more about matchups, it's more about game awareness, more about how do you rotate the strike, it's more about how you actually take this game forward and just poke out the opposition. So it was a very good move. Yes, Hanuma Vihari got out, so we couldn't
Yeah.
really appreciate it, but the idea was that Hanuma Vihari can hold one end and Chiteshwar. I don't know why Pujara is coming to my mind. Rishabh Pant can take on the bowlers.
Yeah, very true. And most 90s by wicket keeping Test history, and Pant and Dhoni have the same number of 90s. So that's already good for Pant being 24. He's already had the same amount of 90s than MST. So that's a good
Yeah.
comparison for now. But yeah, I mean, coming back to the match, yeah. And yeah, this partnership, I mean, even Jadeja was really helpful, and Ashwin, I mean, right now they're 25 not out of 26. But coming to Sri Lanka, do you think they were a bit
Ooh.
slow? Because I mean, 85 overs bowled so far, you expect them to bowl 90 overs. And I mean, this is the issue with Sri Lanka, because they don't have the second frontline spinner, which they should have
Yes.
gone to. And they lose overs because they have three fast bowlers, so time
Hmm.
takes. And they were short of 3 or 4 overs today, and maybe they'll get some Dermot points at the end of the match if they don't catch up either tomorrow or on day 3. But yeah, still, your thoughts. I mean, on the Sri Lankan bowling, I would say. I mean, I know that partnership between Jadeja and Pant actually killed
Yeah.
Sri Lankan bowlers today. But yeah, still, I mean, do you think that they put some effort today and at least questioned India a bit during that middle phase today?
Yes, the question, but the major thing which I felt that went wrong was the team selection. Right. On one hand, you have got Team India who are going with three quality spinners, and on one side you are going with a side which just has one spinner, and Dhananjay De Silva and Asalanka are just pie timers of the balls, and you are going in with three fast bowlers. So fast ball on this pitch where the sun is melting out in Mohali, the temperature is nearly 35 degrees. You can't expect a fast bowler to produce beauties. And another thing, the spinners, which you had, the frontline spinners, bowled 11 no balls in a single game. Now that's something which is quite
Four
surprising.
no
So
balls. Four no balls so far.
yeah, sorry.
Ambulgenian.
Maybe my
Yeah.
yeah, the stat yeah. So four no balls to a spinner. I mean, that's not a right way. And one catch was dropped to a fast bowler on a no ball. Hanma Vihari was dropped at 23, but that didn't matter because that was a no ball. So
Mm.
I felt that team composition was not right. And on other hand, after that, Sri Lanka actually started to come back in the game in the second session when they got out both Virat Kohli, Hanuma Vihari, and Shreyas Iyer. That could have been a time where Sri Lanka could have been on the upper hand if they had a second quality spinner. Maybe I
Yeah.
don't really
Very
know
true.
how this. Yeah, maybe they could have
Well,
gone. with the quality spinner, and that would have been a perfect time for Sri Lanka to grab both the opportunities. Because if you have versatility into your spinner, Rishabh Pant might definitely play one fall shot to
But the
both the
issue
spinners
with
from.
the
Yeah.
Sri Lankan team is that they have two left arm spinners, and I think both Tamil
Yes.
Denia and Jai
Yeah.
Vikram are a bit similar, I would say. That's why they are
Exactly.
losing. I mean, they're not having Ramesh Mendis due to injury, so I think that was the biggest blow for Sri Lanka right now. If
Pawan,
Ramesh
you
Mendis
tell
was there, I think
you follow
they
Sri
have.
Lankan cricket so passionately. What do you think that exactly went wrong for Sri Lanka? I mean, as of now, if you look past the day one, India is definitely on the upper hand. So, what did you felt was quite wrong for Sri Lanka?
Yeah, I mean the fielding wasn't good first of all, I would say, and the team composition obviously they went with three seamers, which I didn't agree with Dimuth even before the match, and taking a risk on Vishwa Fernando. I would say they should have
Yeah.
just dropped him and made Jai Vikrama play, because I mean seeing that pitch in Mohali,
Hmm.
I think they underestimated the pitch too much, because I would say they
Exactly.
should have just gone like in Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan conditions, you go with your normal two frontline spinners, and I was a bit surprised with this shock. I mean, in Indian conditions in Mohal, you go with only one spinner and just relying on DDS, because I mean Dhananjay De Silva won't always perform consistently with the ball
Hmm.
every time, because he does bat as well. He's more considered as a batting all rounder. So I mean that was a big doubt in my head why they didn't choose Jaya Vikrama. Yeah, otherwise, I mean more than the bowlers, I feel like the Indian batsmen played really well today, and
Yes.
especially Jadeja at the end was brilliant. And Pant, I think there was no answer. I think even if Jai Vikram was playing today, I don't think there was an answer for Rishabh Pant's innings. So I mean, credits to the new ball. Actually, Lakmal got him out, but I
Oh.
think the Indian batsmen were just too good. And we know
Yeah.
the quality of the Indian Test team compared to the Sri Lankan team at. I mean, at home, and Sri Lanka hasn't won away match. I mean, in India against India, so that justifies everything. And yeah, tomorrow first session will be key, because if they want to dismiss India under, I mean, 400 or 450, I think they need to get the remaining four, because very quickly with the new ball. Otherwise it's going to be very difficult, because five
Hmm.
overs have already been used with the new ball.
Yes.
They need to utilize it a lot tomorrow, especially in the first hour.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, but coming back, yes. So yeah, we were talking about Sri Lanka, obviously, and let's go back to India. And yeah, Jadeja has been really, really good. And I mean, 45 of 82 after injury as well, five fours, and then Ashwin as well. So how key will this partnership be tomorrow? And do you see India actually declaring tomorrow, or do you see them going until they get all out? I mean, actually, like around 500, 525. So what will be the mindset of Rohit Sharma and Rahul Dravid tomorrow on
Well,
day two?
if you look the tradition of Indian cricket when it comes to when we play at home more often, so we don't like to bat second. We know the pitch will get so very deteriorated that it's not a batting friendly pitch anymore. So I feel that declaration is not coming anywhere. So India will bat until then unless they get all out, and they would look to pile up a score like 4 500 or maybe 465 or maybe somewhere below 500 or near 500, and look to bowl Sri Lanka twice out within that total. Because anyway, you don't want, yes, Virat Kohli is in a very special occasion, you want him to bat out on the crease, but also at that time there are world test championship points on the line as well. You are already on the fifth position and Sri Lanka are at the right top, so it would be very important. And it's an home series, so obviously the point weightage counts in. So I would won't be surprised if the declaration comes nowhere around and India bat at least till a 450. It's really important to negotiate the first session. If we negotiate with first session and Jadeja is still on the crease with second session and third session come to play, then I feel that India won't bat any. India won't come to back in the second innings until and unless we just require to chase around some 100 odd runs in the second innings. So I want India to bat out till 450 or 460 maybe, and then come out with all guns blazing and just poke the Sri Lanka. It's going to be hard work because there are some quality players within this Sri Lankan 11. You've got Asalanka, you've got an Anthony Matthews is coming back in. So there are a lot of quality players. You can't take them lightly. So the idea would be bat as long as possible, considering negotiate the first session out of tomorrow.
Yeah, and seeing the turn as well from Ambuldeniya
Yeah.
today, I mean, there was a lot of turn for the spinners. So, do you feel day two? I mean, first of all, I mean, two left-hand openers as well, and we know how Ashwin is very good when it comes to the left-hand batsman and getting crucial wickets. So, do you feel it will be a good move if they, because we know Dimuth Karunaratne and Thiriman are going to open. So, do you feel India will take that move and make Ashwin bowl in the first over, perhaps? So, even within the first 5 or 6 overs with the new ball.
Well, in first 10 overs, yes, they will bowl. But in a pitch like Mohali, where the wicket is quite dry, it's covered with a lot of soil, lot of hard turf coming in, and it is covered with a layer of grass. So it's definitely the hard roller are going to be worked tomorrow in the first session. And if Jasprit Bumrah and Shami gets a go, I believe they will produce something out of it. And if we don't, then bring on the spinners, because you don't want fast bowlers to toil in with that pitch when it's quite late, maybe in the second mid session or in the third session. At that time the pitch would be dead, the seam would be coming out, the ball won't have that bounce in it. So go in with your fast bowler which you have picked in, just Preet Bumrah and Mohammad Shami, give them a go. They will definitely pile up 1 to 2 wickets for sure, because this is a very deadly bowling attack. And then bring on the spinners when you remove a bit of grass cover, the soil is coming out, and the pitch is ready to spin. That's the time Ashwin and Jadeja as well as Jayant Yadav are going to be the most successful one.
And what do you expect of Jayant Yadav? Because I mean, he has played a bit quite of India's Test match, but what do you expect of Jayant Yadav in this Test match? Because we usually see Yaksha Patel usually taking
Yeah.
his place, and he usually is really good when it comes to his bowling, especially in Indian conditions. Yaksha Patel is really good, gets 4 wickets or 5 wickets in a Test match, but what will be the role of Jayant Yadav? Do you think in this Test match? Do you think he'll go for wickets, or do you think he'll like control both? I mean, control the economy perhaps, and then give either Ashwin or Jadeja the chance to get those breakthroughs.
He'll play the same role which he played at the Wankhede against the England. So I mean, Akshar Patel was definitely a sure starter, but the thing is he's not 100% fit. So he's struggling with his injuries and concentrating more on the IPL, which is the most important for us. But Jayant Yadav, I expected Kuldeep Yadav to come in, because I mean, Jayant Yadav, yes, he's a quality player, but when you have got a player like Kuldeep Yadav who is a bit low on confidence, Test cricket is the very right way, to find your rhythm back in. So I felt Kuldeep could have been played, but you can't really complain. Jayant Yadav again is a very quality spinner, but your frontline spinner are going to be Ravichandran Ashwin and Jadeja. So as per as Jayant Yadav plays a supportive role, he's going to do an awesome job, because the pitch itself will provide a lot of turn, a lot of a bonus work for Jayant Yadav. So if he just sticks to his basic, he's just going to clinch a lot of wickets.
Yeah, good valid points over there. And yeah, coming to the Sri Lankan once again, and Karunaratne has been in really good form. But what do you think of this? I mean, top six. I mean, I was surprised that Chandimal wasn't playing, and actually Asalanka
Yes.
was opted. I mean, at number six, I felt like Chandimal would have played at number six, and then we have Dikwala coming back after a long time. But yeah, talking about Nisanka, what do you think will be the strategy of Nisanka maybe tomorrow? Because we know Nisanka has been in rich form, especially in the 2020 format, and he's really good when adapting to the test format as well. We saw that in the West Indies tour in November after the 2020 World Cup, he scored 250s against West Indies. So, what do you think will be the Indians bowling plan against Nisanka maybe?
Well, Nisanka is a very quality player, and he can come very handy on this kind of pitch, who loves to play against the spinner. So the strategy will be more of he loves to play around the offside region. So I believe Jadeja would be the right person to get him matched up. This game is quite delved on the matchup. So if Jadeja, the left hander, comes maybe around the wicket to him, just trying to impact that turf which would be created when the fast bowlers are going to work. I believe that is going to be a major trick. Or else, if there is a quiet sponge, a quiet spin, then Ashwin, he is more than proactive, to guess to what to bowl with to someone like a Nisanka. So I mean, it's going to be a lot of hard work for the Sri Lankan batsman, because the pitch is there to bat on. It's a very friendly pitch, to bat on. In the second innings, the average goes up by 50 runs. So in the first inning, the average score is somewhere around 350, and in the second innings it goes down to 375. So it shows that how friendly Mohali pitches get to the batsman. So if Sri Lankan batsmen apply themselves quite beautifully, they can come out with wonders, because this is a batting lineup which is not a cakewalk for the Indian bowlers. Yes, Indian bowling attack has a slight edge, but if each batsman bat on their 100% potential, they can pile up some serious work for this Indian bowling unit.
Hmm. Very valid points over there. Yeah. And finally, what do you expect will happen in day four? Sort of a prediction of how India will go, and then Sri Lanka perhaps. How will they bet?
Oh.
Just your thoughts, yeah, on what's going
So
might
yeah,
happen
we are
tomorrow.
at 357. So I think we will get bowled out at let's say 420, and Sri Lanka at the end of day two would be somewhere around 140 for six.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. I would say India. I think they'll get to that 450. I think they'll get all out
Okay.
for 450. Sri Lanka at the end of day two. I think they'll get around 150, but I think they'll lose around 4 wickets perhaps. I don't think they'll lose six, as you said, but I think they'll lose around 3 to 4 wickets perhaps. I think Dimuth will be key, and I think Dimuth is in good form. So I back Dimuth to do well since this is the 300th Test match also. So
Yes.
yeah, I think there'll be some pressure on the captain as well, and I think he'll deliver because he's been in good form. He's been in the top 10 of the Test rankings as well right now. So I think they somehow can adapt. And I mean, even though there's some players who haven't played in Indian conditions before, I think there are quite. I mean, Matthews, DDS,
Hmm,
Tiriman, and
yes.
Karunaratne, I think they've Dikwal even all have played in India. I mean, Test matches before, so expect them to do well, and then the lower order as well. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's it. Anyways, and yeah, just we did a video on this though, but yeah, Shane Warne also has passed away at the age of 52 due to a sudden heart attack. Yeah, we did a video on that, and thank you so much for everyone for watching. But yeah, yeah, that your just a small thought on Shane Warne's Shane Warne's yeah, passing away unfortunately today. Yeah, which is a shock to everyone, but yeah, just some few thoughts.
Quite shocking. I mean, we all were very stunned when that news came out. He was actually on a vacation with his family, and then this sudden thing came out. He was just 52, and we have just lost a legend in this cricketing world. I mean, there are ton and tons of things which Shane Warne have achieved. I remember that wonderful Ashes which he played, and just stunned all the England batsmen around. I mean, there is a lot to talk about Shane Warne as a bowler, but it's quite a heartbreak. To be honest, we never expected, and this is when life hits to reality that it's 1 second in and 1 second out, and you actually don't know what's really happening. So, I mean, all you can say is he did, a lot of wonder for the Australian cricket. May his soul, get quite peace, and it may rest in peace.
Yeah, that's the same thing that we said also in our videos. So, yeah, the legacy never dies, but yeah, life is too short, but legacy never runs away. But yeah, thank you so much, Yatharth, once again for this day one review. And yeah, I'll be uploading it on YouTube very soon. So, yeah, thank you so much, guys. No one's watching, but yeah, please do subscribe this post breakdown if you're a new viewer. And please do check out the quick coverage on YouTube as well. I'll put the link if possible on the description so that anyone can subscribe. And please do check Yatharth's Instagram account as well. Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys, and hopefully we can come back for the day two review. And don't forget, guys, we'll have a quiz tomorrow. I couldn't mention on the previous video. We'll be having a IPL quiz, inaugural quiz at around 8:30 or 9 p.m. I think 9 p.m. on Saturday. Tomorrow, so that's tomorrow. Yeah, so that's today actually. Sorry. So yeah, 9 p.m. today. So yeah. Anyways, thank you so much, guys. India at the front today. Let's see what's going to happen tomorrow. See you guys, and thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Bye, guys.